What's up guys, this is Ultimate Device Vids, and today in this video we're going to be doing a speed test comparison between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 6s. Now as of the time that I'm recording this video, the iPhone 6s is currently the oldest iPhone to support Apple's latest iOS version, being iOS 13, and of course the iPhone 11 is currently the newest iPhone out right now. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the oldest iPhone currently supported by the latest iOS and the newest iPhone compare in terms of speed. So we're going to be doing various tests, including an app launching test, a Geekbench test, an Antutu benchmark test, a boot test, and a Safari web page loading test. Now, I also want to let you guys know that you should definitely take this video with somewhat of a grain of salt, as the tasks that we're going to be performing in this video don't necessarily reflect how these devices are going to perform in all instances. For example, a boot test is not necessarily reflective of how a device is going to perform in all instances. Also keep in mind that there are many varying factors that contribute to how a device will perform. And just to let you guys know, the iPhone 6s is here on the left and the iPhone 11 is on the right. And of course, that is the format that's going to be used throughout this video. And also, I want to show you guys that both of these iPhones are running the latest iOS version as of recording this video, which is iOS 13.1.1, as you can see right here. But all right, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start off with the boot test. So as you can see right here, both of the iPhone's app switchers are empty, and both of the iPhones are connected to their respective chargers connected to the same power strip. So we're going to go ahead and power the iPhones off, and the power strip is off, by the way. And basically what we're going to do is, once the iPhones are completely off, we're going to go ahead and turn the power strip on, and it's going to turn the iPhones on at the same time. So I'm actually not going to cut anything out of this portion of the video. I want you guys to see how long this takes in real time. So you can see the iPhone 6s actually booted up first, so definitely not what you'd expect, certainly an interesting result, but once again, don't hold too much stock in the boot test as it's not reflective of how the device is going to perform in all areas. And alright, now let's go ahead and move on to the app launching test. So once again, the app switches are completely empty, as you can see, and we're going to go ahead and start off with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now I did my absolute best to launch these applications at the same time, so just go ahead and bear with me in terms of that, but you can see here, starting up on both devices. And we just have to go ahead and skip this intro screen right here. So we're going to go ahead and skip that. And the most important thing is starting the game. So we'll go ahead and do that at the same time. So you can see here, both are loading right now. And you can see the iPhone 11, as to be expected, several generations ahead. It does start the game first, but you can see the iPhone 6s is doing a perfectly fine job at starting the game. It's actually loading great. This is not something you'd even really notice in day-to-day life. It's just, of course, when we're comparing them head-to-head, you'll see it. So both devices incredibly capable, you can see, with this task. So let's go ahead and skip the intro screen and get into the actual game here. And you can see there, the game loaded up perfectly fine on both. Again, just that slight, teeny little minuscule advantage on the iPhone 11 there, but nothing you'd notice in day-to-day life. Let's go ahead and close out of this application. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next app, which is Asphalt 9, another fairly, processor-intensive game. So go ahead and open this up at the same time. And you're going to see here, again, kind of the same trend continue with that, advantage on the iPhone 11. You can see there the actual, startup page did load, of course, first on the iPhone 11. And so you can see there the iPhone 6s did actually catch up. So there was definitely a considerable gap in terms of that. But anyway, skipping ahead here in terms of actually pressing the play button to start the game, you can see that both of the devices are loading that now. So you can see the iPhone 11 is a little bit ahead here in terms of actually starting the game, but you can see the 6s is definitely not too far behind. You can see here, once the game actually starts, it's running totally smooth on the iPhone 6s, of course the iPhone 11 as well, but again, nothing to complain about at all in terms of performance, both performing this game very, very well. And all right, let's go ahead and close out of this one, and we'll move on to the next game, which is going to be Zombie Highway 2. This is definitely a much lighter game, not nearly as processor intensive as the last two, but let's go ahead and open that up. And all right, getting to the screen here. Again, absolutely minuscule advantage on the iPhone 11 here, but both doing great. And okay, so now we're going to go ahead and press the start button at the same time here to actually get into the game. You can see pretty much identical there. Both, again, doing great here. This is, again, a pretty light game, I'd say, in terms of, just compared to the previous two we did. So, as to be expected, both doing perfectly fine here. Okay, so let's finish things off in terms of the games with Subway Surfers. Definitely a big throwback. I'm sure this brings back a lot of memories for a lot of you guys, but you can see there, definitely an advantage on the iPhone 11. But we'll go ahead and play the game, and you can see there, this is, again, a very light game, so of course it's going to work perfectly great on both. But again, with the initial launch, there's a little advantage on the iPhone 11. But okay, let's go ahead and move on to the camera application. Of course, this is important to take a photo quickly. So basically the same, but if you technically wanted to declare a winner, the interface came up first on the 11 and the viewfinder came first on the 6S. Maybe that's because the iPhone 11 camera has more features, or maybe it's just a coincidence. Here's the App Store. This one largely depends on your internet connection because it has a lot of content to load, so definitely take that one with a grain of salt, but you can see the iPhone 11 did get it first. And now we'll go ahead and launch up Safari here, and you can see, again, teeny advantage in terms of that. And now I'm going to go ahead and load up apple.com. And once again, just keep in mind for the web browsing test, it largely depends on your internet connection, so don't hold too much stock in that. And here's youtube.com. You can see for both of those, it was pretty much the same. Maybe a slight advantage with apple.com on the 11, but again, don't hold too much stock in that at all. All right, so now let's go ahead and run a Geekbench test. So this is something you could definitely hold much more stock in as it's an actual scientific test. So we'll go ahead and go into CPU on both and run a benchmark. So I'm just going to let this run, and I'll come back to you guys with the numbers. All right, guys, so here are the results. So the iPhone 11 came out with a single-core score of 1,327 and a multi-core score of 3,411, while the iPhone 6S had a single-core score of 559 and a multi-core score of 1,044. So, as to be expected, definitely a considerable jump here in terms of the numbers. And now let's go ahead and run the Antutu test. So I'll go ahead and open this up, and I'll do the same thing. I'll start the test, and then I'll come back to you guys when it's done with the numbers. And here are the results for the Antutu test. And once again, as to be expected, definitely a noticeable jump in terms of these numbers. Of course, with a device that was released back in 2015 in comparison to a device that was just released in 2019. But yeah, guys, as you can see throughout this video, the iPhone 6S is still a very capable device. So yeah, definitely an interesting video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel for more content. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.